This is a fourth stimulus check, stimulus program, and news update. The CDC plans emergency meeting on rare heart inflammation following COVID-19 vaccines. I covered this story last week. It actually started out in Israel among male teenagers, and now it seems to be spreading a little more. What they're saying here is that it's a bit of an apples to oranges comparison because, again, these are preliminary reports. Not all these will turn out to be true myocarditis or pericarditis reports. So let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Do you think there is any connection between the vaccine as well as in heart inflammation, also known as myocarditis? Also, a fully vaccinated cruise set sail in the Caribbean and 2 passengers just tested positive for COVID. So this is just 2 days before the cruise was ending. Everybody was fully vaccinated and somehow 2 people tested positive for COVID. I feel like COVID is like the new herpes. You just can't escape it. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Next, we're going to talk about the permanent stimulus checks, also known as universal basic income, which cities are giving $500 a month or $1,000 a month. We'll talk about the fourth stimulus check. Really quick, I'm just going to cover the infrastructure and what's happening with that. Here's what we know about the bipartisan infrastructure deal. So it was just a couple of days ago on Tuesday that President Biden canceled or terminated the negotiations between Senator Shelley Moore Capito and the White House in terms of the infrastructure package. Since then, there has been 2 plans and now a third plan for infrastructure. Just a quick summary, the first one was the G20, which was 10 Republican senators, 10 Democrat senators. They came up with a plan. Then the Problem Solvers Caucus, which was 58 Democrats and Republicans, which was around $1.25 trillion. Now we have a third plan in play here. So 10 Senate Democrats and Republicans say they reached a 5-year, nearly $1 trillion infrastructure deal. It's actually $978 billion between 5 Republican senators, 5 Democrat senators, and I'm not going to get too much into detail on this because it seems that every other day there's like a new infrastructure plan. Until something becomes more serious, I'll let you know. Here's the White House response to what's going on with infrastructure.
I do have a question about American politics and in particular the infrastructure bill. A lot of people have been watching its progress or lack thereof, and there's criticism from the progressive wing of the Democratic Party saying, why is President Biden working with Republicans at all on this? It's clearly a futile effort. So why continue to push for a bipartisan bill when you could just go it alone through reconciliation?
Well, first, let me say the president's focus is on getting this work done, getting an infrastructure bill, a jobs bill signed into law, getting child tax credit extended, ensuring there's universal pre-K, and we're moving on a number of paths. So he's working with Republicans and Democrats. There's a couple of negotiations happening in the House and Senate now. That's progress. That's an encouraging sign, and we'll see where that goes. And he's doing that because that's what the American people elected him to do, to find areas of compromise, to find areas where there's common grounds. But his only red lines here, Tony, are inaction and raising taxes on people making less than $400,000 a year. So I can assure you we're going to move on many paths. We're going to see what can come out of these negotiations, but we're continuing to move through on a reconciliation path till we have that option available as well.
Although the reconciliation process is not the first option for President Biden, they're using it as a backup plan B. But other Democrats are not too happy with this. They just want to move forward without the Republicans. For example, AOC, also known as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, begs Biden, Dems to stop playing patty cake with the Senate GOP. So it seems like there is a lot of effort between Democrats and Republicans to get together and come up with a bipartisan solution. But let me know, is that a waste of time? Should it be done through reconciliation? Here's Elizabeth Warren talking more about why Democrats should move forward with reconciliation.
Why are Democrats still playing along with this game?
So, I see it this way. I think that the president did the right thing. He said, I'm willing to be bipartisan, come in, let's talk, but not to hold things up. What we're doing right now as Democrats is we're negotiating out an infrastructure package, and we need to make sure that we're going full speed ahead. Republicans want to join us? Fine. But if they don't, we don't slow down for them. We need to move forward. We need to deliver on our promises, and that means now. We need to deliver on infrastructure, and that means, sure, roads and bridges. It also means mass transit. It also means communications. It also means child care. It means helping women get back into the workforce, and it means making those jobs that are principally held by women of color, making those caregiving jobs good, decent, dependable, well-paying jobs. We need to do that as part of our infrastructure bill. We need to be making the investment in green as part of our infrastructure bill, building a 21st century infrastructure. And remember, Joy, it's not just infrastructure. Right now, President Biden, this evening, could sign a piece of paper and cancel student loan debt for $50,000. He could wipe out all student loan debt for 38 million Americans and substantially cut it.
Senator Warren brings up a great point that Democrats made a lot of big promises to get into office and that the reconciliation process could be a way to fulfill those promises. But is it the right thing to do? Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. She also mentioned student loan forgiveness. Can student loan forgiveness still happen? At this point, I see a lot of your comments about student loan forgiveness. There hasn't been any much updates about it. We have Chuck Schumer and a few other people, Elizabeth Warren, saying that President Biden needs to sign an executive order and cancel $50,000 in student loan debt. President Biden said no, he's not doing that. He campaigned on the promise of $10,000 for all federal student loan borrowers, but at this point, there's still nothing being done. Can it still happen? I believe it can, but infrastructure is taking up all the bandwidth of President Biden and the Congress in order to get that done first. Also, European Central Bank expected to keep stimulus flowing despite inflation concerns. So inflation is happening all over the world, not just in the US, and the European Union is going to have around $1.85 trillion euros, which is equal to 2.2 trillion US dollars in their stimulus program, and they're going to keep that going despite what's going on with inflation. Speaking about inflation in the US, consumer prices jumped 5% in May, the fastest pace since the summer of 2008. Although inflation seems really scary, especially with higher prices at the grocery store, the restaurant, especially essential items that you need to buy, inflation is hotter than expected, but it looks temporary and likely won't affect federal policy yet. So there's a lot of changes going on in our economy, in our country in general, with a lot of people on unemployment, with a lot of shortages in terms of meat processing plants, shortages in labor in grocery stores and restaurants. I think once everything just kind of settles out, then inflation will most likely go away. So I do think that inflation is temporary, but still, what about a fourth stimulus check with all the higher prices going on and still a lot of people suffering from the pandemic, from the job loss, from everything else? What's going on with the fourth stimulus check? So Biden is happy to hear a range of ideas on economy, including more checks, but is he going to give a fourth stimulus check? At this point, we don't know. It's almost as if he's happy to hear a range of ideas with a fourth stimulus check, same way he's happy to hear a range of ideas from Republicans talking about their own infrastructure proposals. He's happy to listen, but is he acting on it? No. So in terms of a fourth stimulus check, nothing has been moving from the White House and President Biden. He's open to hearing it, but it seems like a lot of the legwork is being done by Congress right now in terms of writing letters, not really doing legislation. Honestly, the infrastructure package is just holding up everything. So far, as of now, there are over 80 lawmakers now in support of further direct payments to Americans. These are the recurring stimulus checks, but there's something a little better than a recurring fourth stimulus check. Representative Ilhan Omar tweeted, "This is long overdue. Next step, implementing universal basic income nationwide. This Congress, I'll be introducing a universal basic income pilot program to get money in people's pockets." So, universal basic income, what is that? I'm going to get into that in a moment. Basically, you're getting a check, monthly check, every single month. Could be $500, could be $1,000, every single month, regardless of whether you're working or not. It doesn't have anything to do with unemployment. I'm going to get into that in a moment and show you the reasons why that may be important. First, Chipotle pays $15 an hour and offers $100,000 a year to managers due to a shortage of employees in the US. So Chipotle is kind of like a Mexican fresh food restaurant, probably one of my favorite restaurants there is. and they're paying the workers $15 an hour. So it's good for the workers, but it's going to raise prices as well. So House Republicans blame Democrats for higher Chipotle burrito prices, mainly because if you're going to have higher labor costs, you're going to have higher costs in general, and you pass that on to the customer. So Chipotle is increasing the menu prices to offset the rising employee wages. What does that mean for all the other restaurant industries? If they're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, does that mean all the other prices are going to be raised as well? Well, according to McDonald's, former McDonald's CEO warns that a $15 minimum wage directly contributing to fast food automation push. So basically, what does this mean, automation push? McDonald's is actually testing out drive-thrus where it's completely automated. They don't need someone to talk to you to give you an order. And that's just for drive-thrus. There's also a lot of technology, not sure if you've seen it yet, but robots who are actually able to make burgers. If you think about it, we actually have all the technology right now to automate the entire fast food industry. If you could build a car just with robots doing everything, you could build, or you can make burgers and have different sensors in place. And think about a grocery store. Think about it as like a big vending machine. If you just go up to the front of the store and you go on a little touchpad and you touch all the items that you want, and then robots just go through all the aisles and grab everything for you and puts it in a bag for you, and then you walk out. The whole grocery industry could be fully automated by robots as well. And the big question is, what happens to all of these people's jobs where robots and technology replaces those jobs? They're out on the street, they have nowhere to work because robots have taken all their jobs. I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight, but if we look at the next 10, 15 years, technology is going to replace almost 70% of human jobs. What's going to happen then? That is the biggest selling point for the universal basic income. So Representative Ilhan Omar introduces a universal basic income pilot program to get money in people's pockets. So this is starting to happen across the country, across the world as well, the idea of a universal basic income. So she's going to do this in Minnesota, which is where she's a representative from. So with this program, low-income families in Minneapolis could tap into guaranteed income of $500 per month. So with this, it's going to target 200 low-income families. It's going to give them $500 a month for 2 years as part of the guaranteed income pilot program that Mayor Jacob Frey wants to have and use with the American Rescue Plan dollars. So this is just in Minneapolis. This is happening in a lot of different cities across the country. If you go to the website Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, these are all the different cities that are interested in the guaranteed income or universal basic income, giving anywhere from $500 a month to $1,000 a month. In Los Angeles, they're doing this. They're doing $1,000 a month. And these are all the different mayors across the country. So we're starting to see more and more of this. Probably going to see a lot more, especially since the $350 billion has been distributed to states and counties and towns and cities. Also, in New York, they have a universal basic income program. So State Senator Cooney proposes cash relief pilot program for Rochester. That's in New York. So it looks like there might be a universal basic income in Rochester, New York as well. So they're doing this as an experiment now, and then in the future, it may replace everything. I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts on this. Also, Oakland, California is going to have a universal basic income program. This one is going to be $500 a month for 18 months. So let me know your thoughts on universal basic income, the permanent stimulus check or permanent checks. Is this a good idea, bad idea? Will this help people? Will this help the economy? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. And that is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Belle. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you the one thing that you should do. When there's trees, you should think of going outside because there's no air inside unless you have plants. But outside there's more air for you because the trees help you breathe. So you don't really want to cut down trees unless people are making houses.
Hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Hope you have an amazing weekend. If you enjoyed this update and like all the research that went into it and how it was fast-paced, hit the like button down below. Subscribe for more videos like this. We're probably just gonna go hang out and play some pickleball today. That's one of our new family fun activities that we like to do. If you want to check out more of my videos, click this link down over here or this link up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe, Thank you for watching.